r/ask Reddit. What was ruined because too many people did it? Craft fairs. Now they are crowded with dozens of MLMs. I just want to find knitted slippers made by an old lady who clearly has a drinking problem. Not more Norwex. My cousin sells Mary Kay and always sets up a booth at craft fairs. She puts up signs saying support your small business. Ha. Those people see themselves as successful independent entrepreneurs who've pulled themselves up by their own bootstraps and are totally responsible for it all. Cooking shows. It used to be a few talented chefs who had shows to teach. Now it's every damn celebrity who can or cannot cook making the same recipes as everyone else. I miss a Food Network back in the day with Good Eats. Good Eats. Last night I watched season 1 episode 1 of this for the first time. What a different and informative tone compared to present day shows. The summit of MT Everest is like a trash heap now. You forgot to mention the fact that it's basically a mass grave now too. Fun stuff indeed. Honestly, if I was on a hiking trail and I kept seeing unburied corpses, it would kind of kill the fun. Airbnb. Used to love Airbnb years ago. Now it's pricier than a lot of decent hotels, and some of the house rules are nutty. My friend gave me a discount coupon for one. I compared it to a local hotel and the hotel was cheaper with less rules. My hotel doesn't expect me to leave the room in pristine shape. I leave the towels in the tub and pick up all garbage, but I'm not expected to vacuum and dust. The Appalachian Trail. People leaving their trash everywhere is really ruining the trail, and it's so ducking crowded now. People who litter on trails or campsites or in general annoy the duck out of me. If you brought it in, you are fully capable of bringing it out. Do you actually like being out in nature if you leave your trash in it? People are pigs. I work in a store and people leave garbage and half-eaten food samples stuff in amongst the products. Adults blame kids, but there's no kid tall enough to reach the spots I've found gross garbage. People could have a garbage can attached to their hip and they'll still find a place on the ground to throw it. You used to be one of only a few people around bidding on storage lockers. It used to be a fun hobby I gave up on because it became too popular and people are grossly overpaying for the lockers, which is oftentimes just paying to make a dump run for someone. My mom put all my stuff in a storage locker when I went abroad and then lost it for not paying for 8 months and lying about it. I lost everything I owned since childhood except for 2 suitcases of clothes I had brought with me to study abroad. All my photos, journals I had kept religiously since I was 5 years old, mementos, stories, poems and paintings, thousands of dollars of rare books, stuff I hope to digitize and or give to my kids someday. I tried to find out what happened to my stuff after I found out what happened, but whoever bought a unit threw everything away. Now when I see ads for those shows I just feel sick to my stomach. Edit. Here's a link to a repost of something I wrote when I found out what happened. Edit 2. The original link to that post was deleted. Sorry. I thought everyone could see it. I posted it as a comment responding to this post. Had the same thing happen with my dad. I moved to another city temporarily for a seasonal job and my dad said he'd pay for a storage locker for all my stuff while I was gone. He ended up not paying any of it and lying about it the whole time. And the unit was sold off. Finding out all the irreplaceable things you've accumulated over the years are just gone, with no way to get them back, is a horrible feeling. My condolences. Thrift shopping. Yup, 15 years ago the prices were so cheap and you could always find a gem. Now they're always crowded and everything is overpriced, and you might find something good once every 2-3 visits if you're lucky. I blame the online sellers. Our local thrift stores have people who go in when they open and drop a few $100s on stuff and resell it on the FB Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, etc. It's not just thrift stores either. They do it at all the local discount stores. Retail arbitrage is the new entrepreneur. Streaming services. I miss the days of one single service, Netflix. Now every studio has its own service and holds their stuff away from services like Netflix and Hulu. Direct consequence. Too many subscriptions. At this point it's more economical to buy stuff you want to watch. This is why people resort to pirating. It's come full circle. Debating on whether or not to hit the high seas currently. Too many options. We're back to the old shitty cable model. In my dorm room, there was a vending machine that with just the perfect push of the button, would dispense 2 Sprites. For a few of us, it lasted around 6 months. Then they fixed the machine after one loose lip led to another. Open lip snatch sips. Oh yeah, we had 5-cent peanut M&Ms in our vending machine at work until someone blabbed. My company has discount vending with most items at 25 cents but a few $1 items including those microwavable mac and cheese cups. Well, for about 2 months it was miscoded at 25 cents for one of the 2 mac and cheese options, so I would buy 3 at a time. I wasn't the only one that noticed since the second mac and cheese slot was never used, but I didn't say shit. Driving to work early. I used to do it, but now it's the same as morning rush hour. Just go earlier and skip sleep. Just keep a pillow on your desk. Festivals. I used to enjoy going to some local festivals. Now they are just overcrowded and expensive. I can only afford festivals I play at now, but I live in rural PA and the area and the well-seasoned festy kids are throwing dirt fests on their property with local talent, and those have been so much more fun and it really brings in the music and art community. Overcrowded, expensive and corporatized. Havasupai Falls in AZ. Went back in the early 2000s and it was nice and little to no trash. Now all these duckheads have trashed the park and overcrowded it for a effing Instagram post, making wait times ungodly long. I hold great anger towards people that litter in cities, but I get enraged at dipshits that litter in parks. Like, WTF is wrong with you people? Clean up your shit. And for those who actually care, please bring a waste bag and we can start cleaning up after these duck sticks. Havasupai is ruined. I am not sure what will happen when they reopen in the end of May 2023. If I remember correctly, the 3-night camp permit costs $750 per person. Therefore, it's not just a-holes, but rich a-holes who ruined it. Adblock. Now every website has a warning. It used to be a rare sight. Fun fact, you can block adblock warnings. Technically, they're ads. Can you block the ones that basically shut down the site until you turn off adblock? COVID ruined the national and state parks. Too many a-holes not respecting the land, leaving trash, tagging rocks with graffiti, and crowding the trails. We were hikers and had to stop because the trails got wrecked. Human and dog fesses, food waste, and loud music. Oh, I know, the music on the trails is infuriating. Like, that defeats the purpose. There's so many things and places most people didn't know about prior to Instagram and influencers visiting and taking photos there. Think Manhattanhenge in NYC used to be a cool phenomenon only cared about or noticed by some, but now everyone and their mother comes out lining and blocking the streets for something that was once a hey look at that's interesting kind of thing. Now it's just kind of goofy. I thought Manhattanhenge was cool the first time I saw the photo. Then I saw 500 more of the exact same photo. Really takes away from it being a neat phenomenon. Especially now, where everyone's photos have 50 other people in front of them also holding up their phones. The Henge is just one example of this. If you're into photography, especially of a particular niche or in a certain locale, and heaven forbid you post a photo of something unique that hasn't been done to death hundreds of times already, you'll get dozens of messages of hey, where did you take this, because everyone and their mother wants to copy your shot, and once that happens it's just like a million of the same photo and no longer impressive. Or there are people that like to take photos of the moon or sunset aligned with different landmarks and such, and this used to be rare and cool. Now go to that spot to get that same photo and dozens of big lenses and tripods will be stacked 5 rows deep. Same goes for wildlife photography. If you post a photo of an eagle's nest, people will want to go find it to get a photo just like you and get too close to the nest and not respect the animal, and guess what, off the bird goes, never to return there again. Subscription everything, especially software. I want to buy Office AutoCAD one time and use it for a decade. I don't want to buy it every year. A lovely counterexample is DaVinci Resolve. It's a serious video editing package used on proper films, and there's a free as in beer version and a paid for version. The free version limits you to 4K timelines, presumably because if you're cutting higher resolutions than that you're making a proper film and can afford it, and doesn't have some of the fancier effects and neural engine processing that the paid for one has. But other than that there are no limitations. You can use the free one commercially for as long as you like. A license for the paid for one is about 300 quid, and also comes free with some of the hardware they produce. Once you've got your license, that's it. It'll work on all the versions up to the current one. There's nothing that explicitly says they'll never ask you to pay to upgrade, but they haven't yet. I think their business model is getting the enthusiastic amateur market using it, and the few that go on to a career in filmmaking will then just go out and buy themselves a remarkably inexpensive £6,000 or so digital cinema camera from BMD and base their studio around all the control panels you can buy for it. Kind of like we'll give it away for free because we know you're going to buy it next week anyway. I haven't bought it yet, but it's on my list for early next year because I want some of the cleanup and scaling tools that only work in studio. Whatever the hot new tourism spot is, for example, my grandfather used to spend weekends in Nashville when it was a more down-to-earth low-key town. Now it's one of the hottest travel destinations and is just swamped everywhere. Any place that has a bumper sticker that says keep X weird, I automatically assume they're just banking on the copy-paste tourist crap every other city does. The housing market. Airbnb. My last trip, it was actually cheaper to stay in hotels with all the service and cleaning fee bullshit. Plus clean towels and maid service every day is included. Towels is an easy example. A lot of the time in Airbnbs there is only 1-2 regardless of the length of the booking. College almost guaranteeing a good job and career. It is not the ticket it used to be. Oversaturated. Nowadays a bachelor's degree is like a high school diploma. Except you pay $50,000 for it. A once pristine mountain lake that was peaceful and excellent for fishing and swimming was ruined by development. As I've previously commented, the pine trees surrounding the lake have been cut down and houses built everywhere. Discharge from motorboats and runoff from development have polluted the once pure water. The fish are gone and the air stinks of pollution instead of being lightly scented by surrounding pine trees. Somewhere, the Lorax is very pissed. I am the Lorax, and I speak for the trees. Litter again, and I'll break your ducking knees. The house flipping trend has certainly not helped home affordability. It's good to make a junk house habitable again. It's not good to turn a $220,000 house into a $350,000 house. Also, there are so many home flips that are basically lipstick on a pig. Yes, those new granite countertops are nice, but the plumbing is still 70 years old and needs to be replaced. And now I need to rip out those countertops to get to it, or they use cheap grade materials that don't last very long. I wish people would buy homes and fix them up to live in them, instead of trying to turn a profit so they can buy someone else's place who did the same thing. Flying drones. Thanks to all the idiots doing dumb shit with them, it's not even worth getting into the hobby nowadays. You pretty much can't fly anywhere worth flying, need all sorts of permits, are constantly risking hefty fines or even being investigated for terrorism. No thanks. My dad flies RC airplanes and hates drone people, lol. They don't follow any rules at all, and since drones are pretty much idiot proof, pretty much anyone can get into the hobby. He's just worried that his hobby is going to require more rules, regulations, or perhaps even be banned due to too many stupid people doing stupid things, flying near airports, etc. YouTube. I miss the days of amateur videos, classic smosh, crappy, but still sent entertaining music videos of video games, actual real reactions that didn't feel like a fake, acted out script. Now everything is about fitting into the algorithm. Likes and subscriptions, obnoxious influencers. YouTube is all clean, square, corporate, and sanitized. I won't deny there is also really good content to be found as well, but it's mixed in with a lot of crap. The 10, now 8-minute video goal to run optimal ads really killed a lot of it as well. Videos used to be a few minutes long, sometimes as short as 10 seconds. People edited the video down or kept them short, but now everything is absurdly drawn out just to hit more ads. Writing children's books used to be an art form, then every celebrity has written one. More like every celebrity has paid a ghostwriter to write one for them. Every celebrity has written their name on one. Drinking and doing drugs at work. Too many people did it and now we have HR departments. They just had to ruin it for us functioning addicts. I work in the tech industry and it's interesting to see the evolution over the last 20 years. When I graduated, I went to a startup where people partied with co-workers like crazy. We had tons of alcohol in the office and had big parties every few months in the office where people would get trashed, hook up with co-workers, you name it. Our HR director once paid for a keg for a party because she didn't like the beer we had picked up. Another time I ended up making out with our assistant HR director at a party. Now I'm in my 40s and I've seen a lot of that stuff really taper off. I'm not at a startup and I'm sure there's places where party culture exists, but most of the younger engineers have zero interest in these types of shenanigans. Even the older people I work with, myself included, have little interest in going out together. Maybe we'll grab a beer after work occasionally, but this idea of hardcore partying with co-workers is so foreign to all of us now. We even had a holiday party a couple weeks ago with an open bar and ended up coming in way under budget because few people wanted drinks. I'm not really complaining because I did some stupid shit back then that would have much more serious consequences today, but it's definitely changed a lot. Visiting major historical sites. Most of them have been turned into badly maintained, super expensive tourist traps. Add in the trash and damages tourists do, and yikes. Gettysburg is one of those places. Within the last decade or so, a lot of the museums have closed only to be replaced by ghost tour companies, wineries, and breweries. I'd guess at least a quarter, if not more, of the local economy comes from ghost tours and alcohol. It is not the same town it once was. Everything TBF. Nowadays wherever I go there are a lot of people and I hate it. That beach from the beach. Oh shit, I just googled. They actually closed it for a few years. Shopping at Target yesterday. Holy crap, the line went all the way to the produce section. We had an amazing Halloween house in our small town, walking distance from my place. Every year the family who owned it would bring in Hollywood level props and lighting and 10 or so actors in full regalia to replicate a Pirates of the Caribbean scene all around the property. The Jack Sparrow was a dead ringer for Johnny Depp. Every kid would get a bag full of real candy, not the mini Halloween stuff. Unfortunately, people started coming from other towns and it turned into a mob scene to the point that cops had to direct traffic and they shut it down. Enjoy nature. Turn the damn music off, you inbred. And stop playing bird calls on smartphones to try and spot birds. It's called bird watching, not blasting out audio porn for birds that duck suck their mating. Oh my god, we're creating bird insults. Etsy started out as a legit community to buy and sell original handmade arts and crafts. All kinds of art made and sold by the artists. It was really cool. Then it started to turn a profit and it became whatever the duck it is now. When I was young we had this tradition before our city's yearly festival started. We would each get a rubber boat, anything that floated really, and just drift in a nearby lake while drinking beer. The drift took around an hour or so. Then we would go to the festival. Started out with maybe 20-30 of us for a couple of years. Then some douchebag popular guy took note of it, had to turn it into some massive event with musicians playing and calling for the media to come there, etc. It just turned a chill event with friends to something where you couldn't hear your own thoughts because there were so many people there. They even had to close it down after a while because some of the visitors littered too much, left their boats and shit in the river, etc. Same thing happened in a university town not that far from us. Some students started a festival where we played a more relaxed form of baseball. Sign up as a team, play a tournament. First prize was like a bottle of vodka or some shit like that, completely free of charge. We slept in tents and drank. Super chill and fun thing. In comes the capitalist mind. Turns the whole thing into some commercialized shitshow where it's now the world championship tournament of that casual baseball. Huge entry fees, beer tents, artists, like Duckman. What's wrong with setting up a tent, drinking a couple of beers, playing baseball drunk and just having a good time? No, we need to capitalize on this. Made both of those things boring as hell. National parks. Prior to like 2018, you could go to most parks without needing any hiking permits and would rarely have to wait in line. Because of COVID, every park in the lower 48 that is easily accessible is crowded. It takes forever to get in. and you have to have permits for a lot of the best hikes. Anything can be ruined if it becomes popular to the point that increased interest dilutes the original idea or community so that it becomes unrecognizable. Reddit rapidly hates gatekeeping, but there's something to be said about maintaining standards as a way of preserving a group's identity. Some jobs, hobbies, interests are harder to get into than others, and that's okay. Social media. Really enjoyed Facebook when you had to use a college email address. Before there was a timeline and the newsfeed was chronologically ordered rather than by most popular. Undergraduate degrees. We're experiencing a strange educational inflation, where most jobs now require some form of higher education that previously didn't. I'm not suggesting education is necessarily a bad thing by any means, but it certainly drives a greater division between those that do and don't go. It's used to be a 30/70 split and now it is 80/20 as to the percentage of people that go and those that don't. A striking difference. As someone who previously worked at Starbucks, I was floored when I found out that to be hired as a manager you need a bachelor's degree and they pay you $20 whole dollars an hour. Then corporate stands around and wonders why no one wants to work there. Everything that has to do with true crime. Some years ago it was not popular at all and you had to search for any documentary and or website. Now there are extra TV channels, podcasts, magazines. Everything and everyone is an expert. Gatekeeping. It was so much better when only a few of us did it. My ex-wife. Moving to Austin. Apple picking. Orchards used to involve parking on a dirt lot, climbing trees to get the best fruit, and paying per bag. Visiting a farm. That's it. Now there's admission, paid parking, hay rides, food stands, live music, photo taking areas, etc. Feels like a tourist trap, because it is. Living in Iceland got ducked up due to Iceland becoming a popular tourist destination. Prices are way up, housing has skyrocketed, lots of reasons. Big one being Airbnb. And our nature monuments are slowly being eroded by dumbass tourists. I'm a native, but I can barely afford to live here anymore. As mentioned a few times here, over-tourism. YouTube used to be a great place for information and entertainment. Now it's full of clickbait channels who just try to make money. And add to that YT's removal of being able to see the dislikes. That was incredibly useful when trying to find tutorials that were actually helpful. Nurse practitioners. It was meant for experienced nurses with decades of experience in one field to act as physician extenders. Now a bunch of 21 years olds recently graduated with a BSc and directly go into part-time online NP schools and then go to become dangerous clinicians and prescribers that push for independent practice when they have a fraction of the supervised clinical experience and rigor that MD physicians do. Facebook. I remember back when it was invite only and you had to be part of a network. We sincerely used it to post pictures and create events. Then everyone and their mom joined and the timeline was created and everything was just awful. Selling on Etsy. I worked my way through nursing school by crocheting my fingers to the bone and selling my wares on Etsy. I made a good bit of money and thoroughly enjoyed it. My little Etsy shop really took off too. Now with the influx of dropship people plus scammers trying to pass off their mass-produced crap as handmade, a seller would never be able to find my little shop. Use of the word Karen. Moving out to the country, traffic used to be that one light that didn't cycle right. Now there's backups every day because they failed to upgrade the infrastructure. Urbanites spazzing out because they heard a gunshot from the farm down the street. Calling the police because they saw a coyote and someone needs to do something about it. All of them putting 10,000 watts worth of lighting all around their house, completely washing out the night sky. Can't forget their bored duck trophies breaking into garages and trespassing and street racing on dark narrow country roads because there's nothing else to do here. Oh, and there's been a couple murders now. Before all this, the last time we had one was in like the 60s. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.